Chapter 3, The Journey. Joseph had always been a man of few words, measuring them carefully, just like he did with his tools at work. You know that the town has had word of a Roman census, he announced quietly. They are demanding everyone returns and registers in their town of birth. He paused. It has come at a hard time, I know, but we must do what is asked. We have no choice. I let the words sink in. Then he added, Miriam, you must leave Nazareth and go to Bethlehem. He paused. I was silent, thinking. You never know, it could even be a fresh start, away from this sleepy town, all the chatter. We could start our life together, just you, me, and our baby. He looked at me, waiting for a response. He continued, I still have cousins there, and they should get a shelter. When will we have to go? I finally replied to him. Soon, before you give birth. I took a slow breath, picturing the long journey. Moving was hard for me now. I had no idea how we would manage, but I did not question. We must do what is right and take things day by day. But I was worried. It was so far from my family and from my home. But there was so much for me to process. But within a few days, we set off. We told few people beyond our close family of our friends. It felt better that way. The last few months had been hard on Joseph. All the gossip as my tummy had grown. Maybe it was time to leave and to cleave to my husband in whatever way that meant, whatever it would lead us, wherever. Back when I had visited Elizabeth, I was only just pregnant. I practically ran along the dusty coastal trade road that runs south towards Jerusalem. Now with the baby straining within me, I was slower than an old mule. Every step felt exhausting. The journey, which should have taken 4 days, stretched closer to 5, and the longer it went on, the quieter Joseph became. He was worried. I could tell. I did the one thing I could do to help. I shared my song with him, my prayer. I had new words by then too. God embraced us. He remembered us exactly as he promised. Joseph smiled when I finished. Then he asked me to sing it again. God embraced us. He remembered us exactly as he promised. By the time we turned and put the sea at our backs and headed up at the Yehudian hills, it was my turn to grow quiet. I was in more pain now, but not just from the walking. I knew that the time was getting close, that it would not be too long before I would have to stop and let the birth happen. Wherever we were, we pressed on as far as I could possibly walk or waddle. It was dusk when we arrived in the bustling town of Bethlehem. Even though it was almost night time, the village was filled with movement and people. It seemed everyone was in a hurry. We pushed anxiously through the crowds, and eventually we were directed to the home of Joseph's cousins. As soon as the door opened, it was obvious that we had arrived at a bad time. It was late. The oil lamps had been lit and the animals put away into the small stable shelter at the side of the home. I noticed at once that the house was full of people, and Joseph's relatives looked worried to see us standing there in such a state. They tried to hide their awkwardness and invited us inside, but one of the little children soon confirmed our worst fears. Mama, there's no room for anyone to stay here, said the little girl, her face poking out from behind her mother's skirt. Where will you put them? Our hearts sank. Bethlehem was one of the final villages on the pilgrimage route. With so many people heading into Jerusalem, every home was full of visitors from out of town. If he couldn't stay with Joseph's family, there was truly nowhere else to go. I'd never met Joseph's cousins before, but they proved faithful and kind, and I thank God, especially I was soon to go into labour. The family said that we could stay and that they would make some space. They moved the larger animals out from the small shelter at the side of the house and brought in fresh straw. A small donkey with some goats remained inside, but they would provide some warmth and protection. I liked that. The stable was small, dark and dirty, but it would do, and we were so thankful. The family bustled around trying to make the small animal shelter a little more homely and comfortable, but I was simply too tired even to speak. We gave Joseph a few dried figs and some milk for him to give to me. Then they left us to ourselves, as they had so much other things to attend to. I didn't mind. I was just grateful to lie down anywhere. For a moment, the immediate struggle abated. I was safe. I lay there and exhaled. All memories of angels or journeys or ancient scriptures being fulfilled, they were gone. I just needed to rest. I closed my eyes, tried to pray and be calm. I'm ready to serve, I said. Let it be just as you say.